This is a 1985 Jeep Grand Wagoneer. I've owned this car approximately 2 years. I bought it from a friend of mine who started the restoration process, but took a change of direction on working on these cars. And I was able to secure it from him in Palm Beach Gardens. This car is the 6th car that I've worked on and restored. If you look at my YouTube site, you'll see the other 5 cars, 4 or 5 cars. Maybe there's one I sold. I don't even know if I listed it. I sold it. So this car took 2 years. Pretty much sat in my driveway for probably 6 months. And then we took the body off the car, stripped it of all the chrome and stainless. Took out the complete interior, door panels, carpet, everything was removed from the car. Bumpers, fuel tank hoses. Good shot from the rear. We removed everything, took the doors off, took the windshield out, took the rear glass out, took all the glass out of the windows, motors out of the windows. Left with bare metal, cut out any rust. We had some rust on the driver's side, but we replaced that with the VJ's patch panel. It was completely cut out and welded back in. Then the entire car was sandblasted in and out off the frame, underneath, on top, inside. Even the dash had been removed, so everything was sandblasted. Primed with an epoxy primer by Sherwin Williams. That primer alone cost $600 for a can. Very good primer. We primed everything and then took it to the body shop, and he went ahead and finished, filled any areas, welded most everything that had a problem was cut out and welded. Put new rear quarter panels on both sides on the back. These are the VJ's off-road quarter panel patch panels. So old ones were cut out, the new ones were put in. So the body was then painted. The front cap obviously had been removed, so it was painted separately from the car, painted at the same time, just not bolted to the car. So the fenders, the hood, the wheel wells, anything that could come off, front radiator mount, all of that was painted in and out off the car so you could get to everything. Then the underside of the wheel wells was painted with Raptor bedliner material, for protection. The underside of the car was painted with same thing, Raptor bedliner, but the Raptor bedliner you can tint, so it was tinted the same color as the car, so underneath it's blue, and then on the inside of the car, on the floor, it was same product was applied, tinted Raptor bedliner on the rear floor, front floor, firewall area. This car originally was I guess Baltic blue, navy blue, but since we sandblasted the whole thing, any remnant of the blue, navy blue paint was gone. You can look inside the doors, you can look anywhere. You will not see the original paint. So since we had it completely stripped, I went ahead and went with the Spinnaker Blue, which is a 91 OEM Jeep color used in 1991. And I just like it as a nice color. You don't see many of them this color. I did keep the original color for the honey interior. Of course, we upgraded it. All new carpet was applied to the side door panels, to the rear of the seats. All new carpet inside. This is the ACC custom carpet. You can see the carpet's got the ACC custom carpet mats. We did a new headliner all the way around. Steering wheel was sent to a place in Texas that recovers them, so we don't have just the Bubba wrapped around the old steering wheel. We actually have a new steering wheel cover that was hand stitched on. The dashboard pad was recovered, and then the upholstery shop used a French seam on the edge there, which gives it a nice touch. Anyway, that's all been recovered. Let's talk about the air conditioning. Air conditioning underneath this area here, of course, is your evaporator, expansion valve, and your hoses come together to pump Freon into that area. Then the fan blows across it and you get cool air. The evaporator, the condenser, the hoses, the compressor, the dryer, expansion valve, all of that was replaced. So it's all brand new. air conditioner, works great, cools great, not leaking. Only way to go, really. So it's all been totally redone. So it's a nice air conditioner. The radio is made by Retro Sound. It's a retro AM, FM, Bluetooth radio. It has an additional amplifier mounted right behind the radio. And then we used aisle speakers. The speaker covers were painted, and then the speakers were put in. The armrest, most of these Jeep armrests go further down because they bend down because the steel in here bends. But the steel was straightened out and welded a couple of strips on the bottom of it, so it will not bend anymore. Has all new rubber by BJ's Off-Road. Window trim, rubber on the window insert here. New windshield gasket, rear window gaskets, all new. Tailgate rubber, all new. Tailgate inserts were new. A new lifter bar was applied to the bottom of the glass, and new rubber was put in the channels all the way around here. Right there. Now the only thing with these tailgates is the rear window defroster doesn't work. They corrode out. They don't make a window with a new grid on it. This can't be fixed. So that's the only thing on the tailgate that does not function. But the motor works great, goes up and down. We used the VJ's kit to hold the lifter bar on the motor. Motor was taken out, bracket was sandblasted and put back together. All the small parts on this car, if they could be removed, we removed them and sandblasted them and then painted them. It just looks better, and all the stainless trim. This is all stainless. The only real chrome on the car are these roof rack brackets. Those are actually chrome. Everything else is stainless. So obviously this was pulled off before it was painted. We polished all of them, got all the scratches out of them, or most of them, and then put it back together. Same thing on the windshield. There's your stainless windshield wiper arms were pulled off, sandblasted. There's your wheels. The wheels were sent to a wheel shop, machined and powder coated. Hubcaps, I don't know why they call them hubcaps, but the hubcaps were polished and painted. We have the Hankook white wall tires that are brand new. The bumpers, the original Jeep bumper was a anodized aluminum. It was an anodized aluminum bumper, but actually it gives you a very dull finish over time. So those bumpers were stripped, buffed, and now you're looking at a buffed aluminum bumper. You do have to put some metal polish on it every 6 months or so and just kind of keep it looking good. But that's what we did with the bumpers. Okay, here's the engine. The engine is a Jasper Industries motor. They're located in Indiana, a nationwide company. You can Google them. They sell a lot of refurbished company engines. It's harder and harder to find a small machine shop that will redo motors. Most of them go out of business. A couple in my town just went out of business, and they're not very reliable. If there's a problem, well, it's not my problem. Jasper does offer a 3-year warranty and a 100,000 mile warranty. This car, this engine, because it's about a year old, because it's been sitting on the frame and sitting in the car while we redid it, really only has about 2 years left on the monthly warranty, but it still has a 100,000 mile warranty, and with the new motor, I probably have less than 100 miles on it. So on the motor, totally redone. It comes back from Jasper. The intake manifold was sandblasted and painted. Valve covers were sandblasted and painted. There's your new AC compressor, new battery, new power steering pump. You have a water pump that's aluminum, new master cylinder, new power brake booster. These little wheels here, they were pulled off and sandblasted. It has a new harmonic balancer down below. Can't really show it to you, but it's there. All of the, of course, all of this was removed and painted, sandblasted. The heater box was sandblasted. Heater was taken apart and cleaned out. Most all of these fill up with leaves and stuff, and cleaned out, flushed, new hoses, and the hood was lined with a marine soundproofing product sold by a company called Sound Down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's a nice looking product. The sound, it cuts down the sound a little bit. You're not going to cut down all sound unless you totally seal it all the way around. Anytime there's a little gap or something, you're going to get sound, but it does a great job. And primarily these things are designed to prevent heat from the engine from cooking the hood and ruining your paint. That's really the primary purpose of these pads. Anyway, here's your hood release, all sandblasted and powder coated. And let's talk about the Holley Sniper. This car has the Holley 2300 Sniper fuel injection that mounts right onto the manifold. It's a 2-barrel, replacing the carbureted 2-barrel. It's got a computer built into the base, all electronic. It's triggered with a O2 sensor that's put into the exhaust pipe, and there's only about 4 wires to hook up to get it going. It's a very simple install if you're thinking about putting fuel injection on your car, and that's the easy part. It then comes, you can add on the Holley Hyperspark distributor, ignition box, and the Holley coil. These are all Hyperspark. They all integrate, they all plug and play with one another and communicate with one another. So those 3 all communicate. They basically self-tune themselves. Once you get them set up, you obviously got to put your distributor in and get your timing right. But they give you a little gauge to do that. But once you get that done, it kind of figures out what it's doing. The other real change you really got to do is this tank here, made by Robbmc, is a fuel surge tank, which for the fuel injection you need about 50 psi going into the throttle body, but you also need a return line back to the tank, which the Jeep did come with an incoming line and an outgoing line, but the outgoing line is too small to funnel all that fuel back to the tank. So if you're going to put fuel injection on your car, you have to either use this tank or replace that fuel line all the way back to the tank, and then modify your tank and put a bigger intake on it. It's a lot of work, and it's tricky because the tanks are made out of plastic, and anyway, it's just, I don't like fooling with it. So although the tank does have a new sending unit, and it's obviously cleaned out and removed, and everything was cleaned around it, but I didn't want to remove the fuel line and put a big one. So Robbmc takes that little fuel line, takes the fuel from the outgoing fuel and feeds it back in. It reduces the pressure on it somehow and feeds it back into the small line back to the tank. So you don't have to replace that line. Fuel line, I use this aluminum, this is stainless steel fuel lines, rubber, and then covered with a fabric material so they don't conduct electricity. And that main line goes all the way back to the fuel pump on the side rail below the driver's seat. And then, of course, I replaced the rubber fuel line to the tank from there. So all those have what they call an A6 fitting, very easy to connect and disconnect, and that feeds the fuel injection. This tank holds, I don't know, approximately 2 quarts of gasoline and fires right up. And the advantage to fuel injection is you can let this car sit for 3 months and it'll start right up. If you got a carbureted car, it will not start, and you'll run your battery dead trying to crank the thing. So this thing, fuel injection, way to go, runs real smooth. You really don't get a change in performance or gas mileage, maybe a little bit, but it runs real smooth and it starts, because most cars like this are going to sit in your garage for a couple of weeks at a time, or in a storage unit or something like that. You're not driving it every day, so it does help to have the fuel injection and not replacing your battery and all that. Anyway, great product. You can look on Holley's website, read about the 2300. They make a 4-barrel model. Edelbrock makes one. I use the Edelbrock air filter. The stock air filter will fit on there, but you need to put some adapter rings on top of the throttle body to match the air filter. If you want that air filter, I'll be glad to throw it in. I have one, but they're cumbersome and clunky, and the rings that hold them on there are plastic, and it's just not the best. The ignition wires are the MSD 8.5 millimeter ignition wires. Holley owns MSD. So it's all Holley stuff here. The great thing about Holley is they great customer service. You can call them on the phone Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. People to answer phone or know what they're talking about. They're very helpful. You really only need to call them when you're doing the initial setup. So when you do the initial setup, it has a little LED box that I'll turn it on in a minute, but there's your little Holley Sniper box, and it's got all kind of plug and play controls. You can raise the idle, lower the idle, change the O2 levels, change the timing. You do all kind of stuff in that little box, and then if need be, you can save the information to a little memory card, put that on your computer and upload it to Holley if they need to look at it.